All right, so today's goal is to discuss how to form negative commands for all the different persons, and then some spelling changes and some irregular formal commands that will come up, right? We have a little dialogue to help us illustrate those. I think I have one more thing, but I can't remember what it is, so I'll find it as we go through that we need to do, right? All right, so let's just remind ourselves commands, also called the imperative, right? El imperativo. Right? All right. We have different levels of command, right? So we have, this is us over here. This is me, right? All right. So if I'm talking to my friend, mi amigo, right? I would use the to command, the informal command, right? If I'm talking to my teacher, mi profesor, right? Then I would use the usted form, which is the formal command, right? And if I'm talking to more teachers, so mis profesores, then it's the plural, right? So ustedes, but still formal, right? Okay, now was the other person we learned to do commands with? We did two, we did usted, we did ustedes, and then there's one more. Was the other form? When I'm with my friends, right? Together we are nosotros, right? All right, which is like saying, let's, like, let us do something. Let's go here, let's see this, let's talk, let's play, like whatever, right? Let's, okay, great. And the general rule that we found that to is special and then the others follow a similar rule, right? So for the to form of the command, it is the third person singular. Right? You go your normal present tense and it's the third person singular. The el state form. That's how you, that's the verb, that's the form of the verb that you take as the command. Right? All right. Now for everybody else, though, we use something called the subjunctive. And some of you have used the subjunctive, so it's not a new thing, and some people have not used the subjunctive. I didn't teach it through the subjunctive. I taught it through adding the opposite ending, right? So if you have an AR verb, for all of them, you get the yo form, right? So get the yo, remove the o. Let me put this on top. So get the yo form. Why? Because a lot of verbs have an irregular yo form. Remove the o ending, because in the yo form, all the endings are o. And then we basically add the opposite endings. Right? So for AR verbs, for the nosotros, we add EMOS. For the ER and IR verbs, we add AMOS. For my, well, we already talked about the two is different. For usted, my one professor, for the AR verbs, the opposite ending, normal ending would be A, so the opposite ending is E, so I add E. For my ER and IR verbs, normal ending would be E, so I add the opposite, which is E. For ustedes, Similar pattern, opposite. So AR verbs, we add. So for AR verbs, normally we would add AN, like hablan, but we would add EN for the command, right? For ER and IR verbs, normally we would add EN. We take the opposite, we add AN, right? And this is all we've done so far. I'm thinking this is a lot shorter than the multiple slides, so perhaps I'll do it this way next year with my fabulous drawings, right? Right, everybody is clear, nobody is confused, right? We talked about some irregular to pronouns. If you're confused, you need to say, right? And we talked about, that's it. That's all we talked about, right? All right, now today, we're going to talk about how we make these commands negative. And the general concept is going to be put no in front of the verb, right? So form your command in normal way and put a no in front of it. Except for to, which is now going to take the opposite ending instead of being no in front of the third person singular, right? Now, just as we did for the others, we will add for AR verbs, we will add ES, and for ER and IR verbs, we will add AS, right? And we'll put a no in front of it. Okay, so that's a general concept to make them negative, put a no in front of the verb. But you form the verb the same way, except for to, which now is being formed in the subjunctive as well. All right, so let's go on. I'm going to clear the screen. If anybody's using the screen, you need to let me know. Otherwise, 10 seconds, I'm going to clear the screen and we're going to go ahead to the to form, the negative to form. Okay. Right, so this we discussed last week. And now we're looking at the negative command in Spanish, right? So for the to, so at the top, you could see negative commands in Spanish take the subjunctive, right? All of them. To, usted, ustedes, nosotros, right? Now, I have it broken down slide by slide because it would be less, I thought it would be less overwhelming to students who are meeting it for the first time. But you don't need to write the same note 4 times. You could just add the other pronouns, right? All right. So for to, so what you could do actually is you could draw a table. It's just a suggestion, or you could write a note going down. But this is if you don't need to have it separate, right? So you could have a table, and on this side of the table, you could put this note because it's going to be the same for all of them, right? And we're going to do to, then we're going to do nosotros, and then we're going to do usted, and then we're going to do ustedes, right? So if you would like to keep everything in one note, so you don't have to keep rewriting this, you could do it as a table, or you could just do it on the way down, right? And use different colored inks to help the different subjects stand out. All right, so we are writing a negative command in Spanish. We use the word no to start, right? We have to put no, and then we form the verb. So we go to the O form, we remove the O, and then we add the opposite ending. Forgot I had those over there. Let's try it over here with them, right? So we take hablar first, right? We're using regular verbs to start with, right? So I'm going to, when I'm forming my verb, I need the yo form. So that is hablo. Take off the O, and I have to add the opposite ending. So the opposite ending for AR verbs, add ES, right? For ER and IR verbs, add AS, right? If it is simpler for you to think of it as using subjunctive, then you could think of it that way, right? All right, so HABL for AR verbs, I have to add ES. So it's going to become hables, and I'm supposed to put a no in front of it. So it's no hables. Do not speak. My God, why would I say that to somebody? I'm so mean. All right. My next one is comer. So the yo form is como. Cross off the O, I get COM as the stem. COM. For ER, I add AS. So comas. So no comas. Do not eat. You do not eat. Right? But in English, we don't typically say you do not eat. We just say to the person, do not eat. Or do not whatever. Right? And the other one that I had on that list there was escribir. Right? So escribir is an IR verb. Escribo is the yo form. Take off that O. I'm left with ESCRIB. For IR verbs, I have to add again AS. So no escribas. Right? All right. So those are the examples. Those are 3 examples. Right? We have example 1, example 2, and example 3. Right? With AR, ER, and IR verbs. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to note what you need to from the slide. And then the next one we go to will be nosotros, but that will be faster because nosotros, usted, ustedes, they followed. It's just to put no in front of what you already know how to do, right? Okay, we just did those and we just wrote this out, right? Okay, so positive commands in Spanish for nosotros. We went over that just now. That's how you say let's, the first person plural. For AR verbs, we add EMOS to your form. ER and IR, we add AMOS, right? All right, negative commands. Got to change something here. So let's do it together now. All right, so for nosotros, negative commands, we just put in no in front of the verb, right? That is the main thing. All right, so if we had hablar, this is a repetition of what we would do for 2, but I did not change. So let me take this off. Right, so we take the stem again from hablo, right, minus the O, so it becomes the stem is HABL. Plus it's an AR verb, so we add for the AR verbs, we add EMOS, right? Hablemos. And I've left out the no, which is the most important part of a negative command, right? So no, hablemos. All right, similar for comer. The yo form, como, minus the O. No comamos, right? Let's not eat. Escribir, let's not write. So escribo, minus the O, no escribamos, right? So just, so it's clear what this translates to is, let's not talk, or let's not speak, right? Let's, oh, this is less, different word. Let's not eat, and let's not write, right? So start with the O form, drop the O ending. For ER verbs, add EMOS. For ER and IR verbs, add AMOS, right? All right, I'm in it. Okay, so let's do this. Positive commands, so state and state is. Find the stem the same way. Start with your form, drop the O ending. For AR verbs, E or E for state, EN for status. For ER and IR verbs, you add A first, state, and AN for status, right? Negative command, same thing, but put a no in front of the verb. Well, it's up here, put no in front of the verb, right? All right, do I have some examples for us to try? No, I don't, so let's put some in. We've been using hablar. So hablo, we get the stem HABL. So this is the usted set, right? So hable, because for AR verbs we add E, right? For ER verbs, comer, come. Oh, what did I forget again? I forgot the no. The most important part of the negative verb is the negative command is no. So no hable, no come, no sorry, no coma, because comer is an ER verb, so I need to add A, right? And no escriba. So do not write, right? For ustedes, the ustedes form now, instead of E and A, we're dealing with EN and AN. So no hablen, no coman, no escriban, right? If anyone is confused, please say. Next thing we're going to try is an exercise. So I'm giving you a minute to note examples. Okay. So we've done negative commands. All right, now let's talk about spelling changes that take place in some verbs. Right? All right, so when the stem, remember we go to the O form, we take off the O to get the stem, right? When the stem has a C, that C has to change to a Q, U. Let's talk about why. Once you understand the why, you won't have trouble remembering this. All right, so we have explicar. And that's for this, let's say we're doing usted commands. Okay, so explicar, right? To explain. Explico is the yo form, yo explico, right? Now, when the C is in front of an O, we get a K sound, a hard C, right? We take off the O now. It's an AR verb, so we have to add E for usted, right? I want to say to teacher explain. But if I add an E here, what happens now to the pronunciation of the C? It's no longer explique. It's no longer explique. It's explicit, right? So that's a problem. So what we do instead is we put in, we change the C to a Q and we put in a U, right? So it becomes explique. This is a new stem and then I add to it E, right? So I say to the teacher, explique por favor, right? Buscar, to look for, is another example of that. Right? So I want to tell the teacher, look for my paper, please. In English, we would say please. So busco is the original, but that, oh, now I have BUSC. So it needs to become BUSQ. It's AR. So I add an E again, right? Busque. Mi tarea, por favor. Right? Something similar happens with verbs with Z at the end of the stem and verbs with G at the end of the stem. So I'm going to do all and then give you time to write them, right? We understand what is happening. This change is to preserve the sound of the consonant. So, all right. So, and the other thing with comenzar here is that it's E to I, right? So, comienzo. Comien changes Z to a C, right? And it's an AR verb, so comience, right? So begin, right? Okay, abrazar, to hug. So it becomes abrazo, right? Abrace, right? Okay. Then we get to hugar and yegar. So we want to keep the g sound. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, it's a s sound here and a s sound here regardless, right? And yes, in Latin American Spanish it is, but in Spain, where Z is pronounced as a TH and where Spanish began before it was brought to Latin America, that is a th, right? So to preserve the sound, I guess. Hugar, gar is radical changing. So it becomes, sorry, the wrong it should be juego. Right? The yo form is juego. The yo form of yegar is yego. So jugar to play, a game, and yegar to arrive. Right? So the O goes, and to preserve the g instead of it becoming a h sound, we change that. We add a u. So it becomes juegue, and it becomes yegi. All right. All right, so I'm going to give you 2 minutes here to note these examples, and then we have some irregular formal commands to look at, and then we could do our exercise. All right, so let me remind you first that we looked at some irregular to commands, right? Which is here. Right? For venir, we say ven, for ear, we say ve, poner, pon, tener, ten, salir, sal, desir, di, hacer, as, and ser, se. All right, so come, go, put, take, leave, tell, do, be, right? All right. Now, for formal commands, we do have a few irregular forms because the subjunctive is irregular. So this is the usted and the ustedis form, right? So you could note accordingly. Right, so dar, the verb to give, and so basically this just means give, right? But you're saying it to a stranger or an authority figure, right? Estar to be, estén, so be, right? Be whatever. A bear to have, aya, ayan. So this translates to have, like have, but not in the sense of take it, right? That would be tener. Ir to go, via, vian, so you're saying go, yeah. Saber to know, sepa, sepan, you're saying no, you're telling the person no. So these are words that probably will not, except for give, right? Sarah to be, so you'd be saying to the person be, right? These are verbs that probably we're not really going to use much in command form, right? But we do have to know they exist. I think dar is important and ear is important. You could off. I mean, if you're given directions, you would say go. And dar is a pretty common verb, right? But the others to use as a command, give. But the others not so much, right? All right, but either way, we need to be aware of them. So just 2 minutes here. All right, so let's clear this away. And our exercise is in a PDF. So let's look at that. Right, so we're going to do the two forms first, and then we're going to do the usted and ustedis forms. Everybody can see this okay? Right, this is as big as I can make it, I think. Yes, okay. So you have 10 here. Write the affirmative and negative familiar, 2 commands for each group. I could do the first one. We could do the first one together, or the first 2 together. Right, so affirmative and negative, 2 commands for each group, right? All right, let's do the first 2 together. Okay, so cambiar to change. Right, so we start with cambio. And we take off the O to get it stem. And it's an AR verb. So for 2, we will add nothing because it's 2 forms. So we don't need the subjunctive. My bad. Let's start over. Cambiar. And we add E, right? So it'd be cambia. change. Okay, the third person singular. Right. For the no form, that's when we go to the subjunctive. That's when we go to the opposite ending, right? All right. So now I go back to my cambio, take off the O. So my stem is C-A-M-B-I, and I add the opposite ending, no cambies. Right? Pedir. Okay, now pedir is what kind of verb? Stem changing. Right? Pedir, to ask for, to order. So if you want to tell your friend, you know, order something for me, you have to use the imperative. You're telling them to do something. So this would be PDs. Nope, PD. PD. Right? All right. So third person singular again. Right? All right. Now for this one, we would start with pedo as the O form, take off the O. PID, it's an IR verb, so I'm going to add AS. No PDAS. Don't order anything for me. No PDAS, not a part of me. Right? All right. So you guys try 3 to 10. Right? The positive and the negative. I'm going to give us 2 minutes and let's see how far we reach. And then I can we could do some and then you could do the rest if we don't finish in 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes. And if you're watching the recording, please pause the video and try them and then read. All right. So viajar. You tell your friend to travel, you say viajar, right? You tell your friend not to travel, you say no viajes, right? Volver is stem changing, O to UE. So you tell your friend, vuelve, return, right? Volver means to return. I didn't go back, like return home or whatever. Don't return, no will vas, right? Dormir, O to UE, stem changing O to UE. So sleep, duerme, right? Don't sleep, no duermas. Pensar, stem changing E to IE. All of these we've met before, right? So you should remember that they are stem changing. Piensa, think, piensa, right? Don't think, no. So do something without thinking. P-I-E-N-S is the stem. No pienses, right? Correr, corre, run. Don't run. C-O-R-R is the stem. No corras, right? Sufrir, to suffer, S-U-F-R-E, sufre. No sufras, right? Leer, read it. Leye, right? Well, read, not read it. Not it, just read, right? No leas, right? No leas. Vender, vende. So sell. Don't sell, no vendas. Right? All right. Check over your answers against mine. See if we have if I have made any mistakes that need correcting. If you have anything that you want explained. Okay, so why don't we take 5 minutes here? All right, so in la oficina, we're going to do some formal commands. Now let us plan to do usted and ustedes, right? So this side will be positive. Right? Wow, this is a really bent line here. Usted, ustedes. And this side will be negative. Again, usted and ustedes, right? So all of these take the opposite endings or the subjunctive, right? And you'll have to write in the notes. So let's do a few together. Leer las noticias, read the news. So for usted, leyó is the subject, you cross out the O. We're adding AR endings. So lea, for ustedes, lean, right? For the negative form, just put no in front of them. So no lea, no lean. Read, do not read. All right, this is to read. Okay. All right, so there are only 8 here. We've done 1, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So try the other 7. And if you listen to the recording, pause for 2 minutes, try the other 7, and then we'll come back and do them together. All right, so conteste, conteste, no conteste, and then no contesting. All right, so try and finish them out. I'll give us 2 more minutes here, then we'll do it together. All right, so usar las instrucciones, use the instructions. So usted, use las instrucciones, ustedes, usen, right? The no form, no use, no usen. Right? Okay, recibir, receive the clients, like I guess group them, bring them into the space, reciba a los clientes, reciban a los clientes. And then the no form, no reciba, no reciban, right? All right. Asistir, attend the meeting this morning. Asista, asistan, right? No asista, do not attend. No asistan, do not attend to our group, right? All right, ir al aeropuerto. Okay, so you should remember that ir is one of the irregular ones that we looked at. Right, so we would say vaya, vayan. No vaya, no vayan. Right? Ser, so ir al aeropuerto, go to the airport. Don't go to the airport. Ser amable, be nice, to be nice. So sea, sean. Right? No sea, don't be nice. No sean. Descansar durante el almuerzo. Relax during lunch. Descanse. Descansen. Right? No descanse. No descansen. Right? All right, any questions? So I think the only thing that might have caught some people is the via and possibly the sea. But it didn't catch everybody. I see some people have it. All right. Okay, I'm gonna leave this up. Just double check. If you have any questions, tell me. 2 minutes, and then I think we could do one more thing and probably call it a day. Right? We have to think about object pronouns and where we put them with our commands, right? That's the last piece of commands that we have to do. So I just want to introduce the concept today. Or for some of you, it will be review. All right. And when we have class next week, we will discuss it again, right? In detail. Las paredes de what? So we have a little dialogue here, right? It was up at the beginning of class, and I asked you to see if you could identify where the commands are that are being stated, right? So Alberto says, Marta, mañana, tomorrow, cambiamos el color de los paredes. What paredes is the walls, right? And cambiamos comes from cambiar in el dormitorio. So what are they going to do tomorrow? Saca las cosas que pueden mancharse. All right, so sacar in this context, meaning to take out. All right? And mancharse, I think stained. Right, so they're going to paint the walls in the bedroom tomorrow. So he's telling her, saca las cosas que pueden mancharse. So do you see a command here? There's the English. When he says take out, that is a command, right? So the saca is our command, right? And it is the to form of the command. We can see that Marta is his friend, right? All right, Marta says, que saco exactamente, what to take out exactly. The bed, listen, it weighs a lot. La cama, oye, pesa mucho. Right, do you see another command in this statement? Where's the other command? When she says to him, listen, right? Right, oye, exactly. From oír, so here it is, right? Listen. Okay, so also a to form, right? So the third person singular for saca and the third person singular for oye. So he says, no te preocupes, la tapamos con periódicos y u otras cosas inútiles. So don't worry, we will cover it. Tapar, to cover. Right? With newspapers and other unimportant things, right? All right, so we notice another command here. Don't worry, no te preocupes. So we're doing negative commands now. So we have subjunctive. We have to use the subjunctive, right? But we have a new element that in this class we haven't talked about yet, which is the T. All right, and she says, and the books, and he says, mételos en las cajas que tenemos en el balcón. Put them in the boxes that we have on the balcony. All right, so here is our command, put them, mételos, right? And you notice the object pronoun because we have to say them. And here it is los, right? All right, mira, debes ayudarme. So two commands here. Look, you have to help me. Well, you should help me. Debes isn't really a command. It's deber means should, right? Debes ayudarme. No puedo hacerlo sola. I can't do it alone, right? So our next command is mira. Not debes, but mira. Right? All right. No te preocupes. Don't worry again. He's very comforting, isn't he? Right? Right? Saca las cosas. Okay, so take out the light things. I forgot that. I didn't Right. Saca las cosas ligeras y déjame a mí las más pesadas. All right, so two more commands here. Saka. I keep thinking Sokka from this show. Last Airbender. All right. And don't worry, take out the light things and leave me to the heavy things. So here we have me again. All right. Now, guys, look at these examples and tell me what is the rule for object pronouns and commands. I'm going to erase the ones that we're not concerned with right now. Right? So you could see 4 of them highlighted and the object pronoun is circled. So the object pronoun is the pronoun that comes after the verb, right? So in English, give me, actually, this is not an object pronoun. This is a reflexive pronoun. Right? Because in Spanish, there are those pesky reflexive pronouns. This is the object pronoun here. Put them. This again is reflexive. So what do you see as the rule for object pronouns and reflexive pronouns? All right, so give me, take it, give it to her. We just have one pronoun added in these examples, but like it's and to her, that's 2 pronouns. Me is another pronoun. It's and to her. I will do it myself is an example of a reflexive in English. Right, guys, what's the rule? What happens to the pronoun when the command is negative? No te preocupes. What happens to the pronoun? No te preocupes. Where does the pronoun go? The object pronoun or the reflexive pronoun go when the command is negative? Does it go at the end? Right, it goes before the verb. Great. What happens to the object pronoun when the command is positive? What happens to the reflexive pronoun when the command is positive? So mételos, put them, leave for me the light things. It goes after the verb. And it's not just after the verb, but it's joined up to the verb. And then you have to put in this accent. You'll notice the accent to keep the stress where it's supposed to be. Mételos, déjame. Right? And a while ago, we said the rule was the accent is supposed to go on the second to last syllable. So they put the accent because now this is not the second to last syllable, it's the third to last syllable or the first syllable. So they put the accent to tell you this is where it's supposed to go, right? The stress. Okay. So when it comes to commands, in positive commands, object pronouns and reflexive pronouns are joined to the end of the verb. When the commands are negative, object pronouns and reflexive pronouns come before the verb, right? And there will be one more little tricky thing to learn when the object pronouns are for third person, right? And they both sound the same, like lo and le or la and lo, etc. We will have to change one of them, right? So next week, I want to go into this in detail with examples. And then once we are done with that, we can start our travel unit, right? Anybody has any questions, anything they want to ask, discuss, need help with? You could remain and let me know. The rest, once we are done, once you are done with whatever you need to take from the screen, you all are free to go, right? Enjoy the rest of your holiday if you have one, or the rest of your day if it's just a day, right? Bye, guys. Thanks for coming out. You're a great class, as usual.